Hello everyone, this is Anthony, and let's get started with the Technologist.News. Hello everyone, 3 articles in the description. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always comment below. You can always like and subscribe to this channel for more Technologist news or for any of the other video series that I work on or my vlogs. So let's get started then. We're going to talk about, first thing on the list, is the Hololens, or the Hololens, depending on how you like to pronounce it. Microsoft has released it. It's going to be out. There's already been pre-orders for it. The specs are available, which I have there in that article for you in the description. The apps and games and all included, including the virtual reality headset. It costs $3,000, mind you, but it will begin shipping on March 30th. So that's pretty cool. The next thing I wanted to kind of briefly talk about was, as well as Facebook's strategy to kind of woo or to bring more interest for small and medium-sized businesses. This is also very interesting because what they essentially want to do is what we're used to with the trailer video on when you first visit a YouTube channel, where you have that tool, that video that you can put up to kind of give a first impression of yourself and why they should subscribe or like your page on YouTube. Well, imagine that idea, but on Facebook. Pretty cool stuff, don't you think? So this is a new concept. I mean, it's not new because we all know to a certain degree, and if you don't, now you're going to know, that Facebook has been trying to implement something similar to YouTube in terms of monetization and putting more emphasis on video and its tools on Facebook's platform. So we're still kind of seeing where that's going, but this idea seems pretty interesting because it really helps businesses to give that first impression. And it's a tool that would most definitely be interesting to see more small and medium-sized businesses utilize. So that's cool. And lastly, the one thing I really wanted to talk about the most, however, was the idea of, well, let me fill you in on some information first, though, before I so you can kind of get into this, dive into this a little easier. So, you know how we have hard drives? We have solid-state drives and flash memory, like the ones that we would use on a cell phone or something of that nature. But now imagine storage using our own cells. Just when you thought that that was just something from sci-fi, we actually discovered that about a few years ago on how we can actually inject data into, or transcribe data into DNA and RNA. That alone was pretty epic. But now, scientists have taken it a step further and have invented, the size of a book, mind you, a supercomputer that runs off of our cells, that runs off of biological material and can store data, compute it, and as well as provide us with data information, and utilizes very little energy compared to what we would essentially already use right now or consider a supercomputer. I mean, supercomputers right now are massive and require lots of energy to power, and never mind the heat and the cooling involved, so that's even more energy. But now imagine something that essentially is literally a living thing that can provide us all the information at such a high rate, similar to what we would be used to from a supercomputer, but biologically. Obviously, this is all very new, conceptual. Some parts of it are being figured out as we speak, but this is a great breakthrough. And, I mean, this totally has its own category, along with Internet of Things and how that's going to go with big data, and then how things are going to go with quantum computing, which is totally, and the other types of computing that we have available, that we have theoretically, and that we can work on. But to know that we have another option, where it literally is something that is biological, because we all know that our very own brains already is smarter than your average supercomputer as it is. And when I say average supercomputer, I mean these industrially sized giant computers that calculate and are able to do all kinds of mathematical problems and calculations and data. Well, let's just say the last time you took a math test, it was worse than child's play. Like, it could be done in less than seconds by these type of computers. I mean, have you seen Watson? How he destroys people on, if you've seen those old videos from when Watson was on and how AI is going in that sense at the same time through that innovation, on Jeopardy back in those days. I mean, I'm just telling you, we've come a long way, and this is exciting, to say the least. And of course, another thing I just kind of wanted to discuss in general was that we found another part of Malaysia MH370, which is great, because it's been so long that, I mean, it humbles me to know that though we have so much awesome technology, it has its limits. And it just goes to show you how incredibly huge and how incredibly mysterious, mind you, is our very own planet. Here we are going off the moon, checking out Mars, going to other planets, seeing planets that are billions and ridiculous numbers that go over your head in terms of how far away they are, and that we even know what's on those planets, and yet our very own planet, our oceans, are still a mystery. And, just to add more to that mystery, the MH370 that has just disappeared, and you can just only imagine how dreadful it must be. And, of course, my prayers go out to those individuals out there who've had to go through the suffering of not knowing what happened to them, right? What happened to the victims, what happened to their family, their loved ones, and so on. So, of course, our prayers go with them and bless their hearts and, those poor souls on that plane ride that day. I'm sorry to end things a little depressing in that manner. I didn't mean to. However, it's great that we're finding more puzzle pieces, so to speak. So there is a silver lining. There is a silver lining to this more than anything else. And that the more pieces we're able to find, and the more that we can confirm that it is from that airline, the faster we could be able to kind of connect the dots and actually find the wreckage, which is great news overall. So let's just keep the search going, and if you have any other, feel free to comment below, feel free to put a like, and feel free to subscribe. And thank you for taking the time to watch me and to listen to what I had to say here on the Technologist News. We'll talk soon.